Hey everybody, it's Glenn back in this video with Confessions of an Ebayaholic, and I've only gone and spent more money on knockoff toys from eBay via China, ain't I? So with Star Wars The Force Awakens being one of the biggest movies of all time, it's only natural everybody wants to cash in on that, even those not coughing up a license fee to Disney to legally do so. And so we have these bootleg action figures. The half-fail action figure 101 by not being actually capable of standing up? Or is action figure 101 making sure the limbs are actually attached, which is an affliction that Kylo Ren suffers from? But then in Star Wars there's a history of characters losing their limbs, isn't there? Perhaps this is eerie foreshadowing for episode 8, or maybe I'd better just try and shove his arm back in that socket. There, better, which is actually an apt word to use as I break out Hasbro's official version of Kylo Ren, as what with many a long-time Star Wars collector bemoaning Hasbro's efforts when it comes to The Force Awakens, you know, them lacking the articulation and whatnot. Well then perhaps a side-by-side comparison with these ear knockoffs will give you a new appreciation for Hasbro, as their version embodies all the screen accuracy of having been based off official reference images supplied by Lucasfilm themselves. Alternatively, the knockoff looks like it was based on the drawings of a 4-year-old drawn while watching the movie in the darkness of the cinema. Now comparing their lightsabers, and do I need to say Hasbro's is on the top of the screen there? It's rendered in like a translucent plastic, has that kind of rough flame effect in the sculpt of the blade. Whereas the knockoffs is just painted, but likely comes with a bonus of being painted with paint that'll give me lead poisoning. Oh. Now if you're a toy fan, over the past couple of months you've likely been confronted by this in stores, thin in volume, clinging to the pegs. So much so that even the knockoff toy makers don't want nothing to do with him. Alternatively, when it comes to Rey, the media's whipped up a frenzy, leading to a literal outcry about her absence in much of the Force Awakens merchandise. The world wanted more Rey, so here you go. And it's a case of be careful what you wish for, cause you just might get it. As curiously posed, straddling her staff and flying in like it's a broomstick, here she is. Seems a bit like an illogical pose, but there is a logic to this, as it being wedged in between her feet and forming a tripod with her legs is the only thing that's actually keeping this action figure standing. So yeah, there were complaints about not enough Rey action figures, and then further complaints about the Rey action figures we actually got. We collectors, we're seldom a happy bunch. Many of those complaints focused on Hasbro's 6-inch Black Series Rey, and I put my hand up, I complained too, with seemingly the paint application letting down the sculpt. But beyond providing me with a much needed giggle, these knockoffs are money well spent, giving me a new appreciation of Hasbro's Rey, because in comparison, boy, that knockoff, and I say boy because is she a he? Is Rey short for Raymond in her or his case? Seems it's just as well that's the one that comes with the goggles and cloth to wrap around its face, as he, she, you're gonna be needing them, ain't no Instagram filter that'll save you. As for the knockoff BB-8 on the right of the screen there, well, it doesn't fare too bad to Hasbro's official one. I mean, the paint detail is a bit too red, and they both have slightly flattened bottoms so they can stand up, and as we've seen, that's something we shouldn't take for granted when it comes to these knockoffs. Then they both have articulated heads. Alas, poor old R2-D2 hasn't fared as well. I mean, they are liberal with the silver paint, you gotta give them that. The other paints not so much, as the reverse of R2-D2 remains completely unpainted when it comes to the blue paint details. And while I said reverse, it's hard to tell which is which, as I recognise the details there on the body as being the front of R2-D2, but then the details on the dome there, that's the reverse of the dome, right? This is the front round here. And you might think you can articulate the dome, right? Nope, you can't. That's all one solid piece, only his legs are articulated. And now for the next one, I'm going to give you a fair warning, you might want to grab your sunglasses. I mean, maybe my camera isn't picking it up, but in person, the orange of this X-Wing pilot is the brightest I've ever seen. Looking at it, I feel like I'm going blind, as if I'm staring at the sun. For accessories, we're spoiled for choice. Well, he comes with two, the first being this blaster. And I did think this was Poe Dameron, maybe I'm just in a Force Awakens frame of mind. But his second accessory is a lightsaber, so it's gotta be Luke in his X-Wing pilot uniform, right? And while we have Luke's lightsaber to hand, let's bring Rey back, because the Force, it's calling to you. It wants you. Let it in. Let it inside you. Touch it. Caress it. Taste it. Can you feel Get your mind out of the gutters, guys. I'm talking about the Force. So there she is, Luke's lightsaber in hand, and no, that isn't innuendo, although I am now picturing all kinds of dirty things. So allow me to cleanse my mind with an innocent, good old-fashioned lightsaber duel. Who will win? Oh, Rey it seems. Moving on to the First Order Stormtrooper with Hasbro's legit effort on the right of the screen, and here, a bit like BB-8, I think the knockoff fare's not too bad. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's great, I'm just saying instead of based on the drawings of a 4-year-old, it's based on those of a 7-year-old. Sure, the helmet's a bit misshapen and just generally odd looking, but to his credit he comes with a bevy of interchangeable heads. So there's a Clone Trooper one, a classic-ish Stormtrooper one, a White Power Boba Fett one. Now, long-time viewers may remember from my Guardians of the Galaxy video that when it comes to knockoffs with interchangeable heads and me, well, sometimes we don't mix well. Let's swap these. Proving a bit tricky. Oh. So let's hope for the best here. Oh, nice. Oh, but then the next hurdle is, will they go on as easily? There. So that's our Clone Trooper, and then our classic-ish Stormtrooper, I guess, and finally Boba Fett-ish. Moving on to good old faithful Chewbacca, Hasbro's official effort is on the left of the screen. Nah, not really, I'm just keeping you on your toes. From the knockoff I'm getting less of a Wookiee and more of a Sasquatch vibe. Maybe it's the stepping pose that's reminding me of that classic Bigfoot film sighting thing. Comparing the head sculpts is like comparing night to day, as Hasbro's on the right of the screen have gone for a happy-go-lucky look. He's off to visit Lumpy, Itchy and Scratchy, or whatever his family were called in the holiday special. As for the knockoff, it's the face of sheer horror, isn't it? It actually mirrors the expression on my face as I look upon it. Ah! Now everybody's favourite green Muppet, after Kermit, it's Yoda. Seems to have ditched the beige robes for white ones, either that or he's quit being a Jedi Master to take up a job as a lab technician. Curious pose as well, I guess they're going for a Force-using look with his left hand, but ultimately looks like he's at an intersection where the lights are out and he's directing traffic. We'll bring Yoda back in a second, but first... It's Darth Vader of a sorts in it. Taking a closer look, and I'm wondering if this is reusing a mold from something else, as it's detailed and much more robotic looking than Vader actually is. And again, they seem to have silver paint to spare, so they're like, hey, why not wax some on his helmet? Then of course, for an accessory, he comes with his lightsaber. Let's place that in his hand and bring Yoda back for a duel. And yeah, Yoda in his 900th year of life seems to have had a growth spurt. And judging by his lightsaber, happy to Vader see, is not he? And in that way, if the winner is decided by who has the most bent lightsaber, then that's Yoda. Actually, Yoda wins for multitasking his lightsaber fighting while still getting cars to yield. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below if you have a, favourite amongst these, or if this video's left you wanting the horror of these knockoffs away from thy eyes. Then click this video to check out some official yet curious Star Wars merchandise handpicked by yours truly. And misery loves company, so why not share this video and inflict it upon a fellow Star Wars fan? Please do it like Deadpool, give this video a big thumbs up, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.